Welcome to part 6 of the Deep Space Nine space station build-up. Going to start working on the upper and lower pylons. I've had to put the promenade stroke habitat section on hold for the moment. Some of the what I thought were light leaks actually turned out to be quite bad seams. Now I don't want to use squadron putty in those seams or anything like that. Now there is another product on the market called Perfect Plastic Putty, so I'm going to order some of that and wait for that to come in and do those seams. It basically comes in a little bottle and you can actually shape it and mold it with water as well, so I'm going to use that for those seams. It's going to be a bit easier to manhandle with that. So whilst I'm waiting for that stuff to come in, I thought I'd crack on with the pylons. Now I've got one of the lower pylons here and also one of the upper pylons. Now one of the big differences between the two is the fact that the lower pylon has basically got a hole in the bottom there for for the stand to fit in. I'm not using the stand, but what I will be using is 8mm tubing that's pretty much similar to this, and that will just basically fit in that gap like so, and put the model onto the stand. So that's what I'll be using for that. Now with both the upper and the lower pylons, I will also be fitting anti-collision lights in, and you can just see the hole there for where the light goes in. And on the bottom section, I'm not sure whether you can actually see the detail on there, just about those little oblongs. I do believe that they are the observation windows for the pylons. It's where Jake and Nog used to go to watch the ships come in, and also the wormhole. So my intention is to light those up. And also on the bottom of the pylons as well, there is also some windows down around these parts as well, so I will try and get those to light up as well. So in order to achieve this, I'm going to be using the pure white SMDs for the anti-collision lights, which will go at the top, and then I will be using the warm white SMDs for the windows in the base there, and they will be attached to a 1K resistor. Now with these parts, I think what I'm going to need to do is get the lights installed first, and also the end caps on the end there, and then put them together and then paint them from there. I think that's going to be the easiest option with these, and then I can just tuck the wires down into this little gap here and put some masking tape over the bottom of that so I don't get paint inside. So I will need to paint these in white, and then I'll go over them with a grey primer, and then I can then go over with the top coat. Now on here as well, there are some details as well that need to be done in the crimson red, so I need to do those as well. So that's the bottom one. Now on the top section of the ship, sorry, the pylon, you'll most probably make it out just there. There is a circular indentation. Now I believe that that is most probably a hole for the stand, because if you look, they are kind of right in the same place, and they're roughly the same size as well. So I have a funny feeling that when they done the upper pylons, they used the same molds really, and then just put a blanking plate in the mold to cover those bits up. So because we don't want that bit there, I'm just going to rough that surface up and then just put some putty over that before I do any painting on that. I'm a bit conscious of the time on this video really, because the last one was a bit long. It was about 20 minutes long. So this particular part of the model might actually be done over 2 videos, but we'll see how we go for time. So that's about it for the moment, guys. What I'll do is I'll crack on and I'll do some work on these, and as soon as I've done that, I'll come back to you. Richard back with you again for a quick update. Made some progress on one of the pylons. This is one of the lower pylons, so it is actually currently upside down. The pole would go in that gap just there. I've got one of the warm SMDs in this section here, and then I've also got one of the bright SMDs for the anti-collision lights just there. Now that is being washed out just ever so slightly at the moment. I just need to get some light blocking on there and some primer, and that should be okay. But it's looking pretty good so far. I just turn the lights down so you can get a good look at what it's like in the dark. So as you can see, that is actually being washed out a hell of a lot, but you can just see through the glare there the little beacon at the top, so that's quite good. That will flash, but it's not looking too bad. I think it took about an hour and a half just to get to that stage on one of them. There's another 5 to go. I'll just turn the lights back on, and if I just disconnect the battery from the wires, there you go. That's pretty much what it's looking like without the lights. You can just barely see the beacon at the top there. I just need to coat that in latex just to protect that whilst I'm painting it. But once I've got some more progress on these, I'll come back to you and so you can see what they look like. Hi guys, welcome back for another quick update. I've got all of the pylons done, and also on the top ones I've also smoothed over the little hole that was there because I didn't like that being there. I've also placed some latex over the flashing beacons. One of the other things I've also done is filled in that cavity that's in there as well with squadron putty. The main reason being is the fact that on most of these parts there was a little gap at either end where it was leading down into the hollow part of the pylon, and I didn't like that, and light was escaping, and it was lighting the end caps up as well. So I thought, well, if I put squadron putty in there, that will solve a number of problems with light coming into the docking ports and also light escaping through the gaps that were there. So I've done that. So all I now need to do with these is put them on these little poles. All I'm going to do is just basically put the poles up in the hole there, like so, and then I'll be able to paint them and then stand them up whilst they're drying. And then all I need to really do after that is just put the 2 layers of white primer on, followed by the 2 layers of grey primer, and then the top coat, and then add all the details to it, and then they'll be done. So what I'll do is I'll get on with that, and I'll come back to you with an update once they've been finished. Richard back with you again for another quick progress update. I've managed to get the 2 coats of white primer on, 2 coats of the grey primer, then 2 coats of top coat, and then I've also got the crimson red markings on as well. So the pylons are actually starting to look quite good now, and you can see quite a lot of the detail coming through on these, which is absolutely great. So the only things really that are left to do on these is to put the overall grey wash on, and then also some of the other markings to simulate sort of newer panels really. You can see there now quite clearly where the marker light is, or sorry, the anti-collision light is, and you can also see on that side there the windows. So that's looking quite good. Well, I believe that they're windows, because you always hear Jake and Nog talking about going to the pylons to look at the wormholes and everything, so I can only think that that's what they are. So they're looking quite good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the latex off of this, and also scrape the windows, and I'll come back to you in a second once I've done those, to show you what they look like. So if you bear with me a second please, I'll be back in a second. Okay, as you can see, we've got the paint scraped off the windows, and we've also got the anti-collision light unmasked. So it is starting to take shape now. Unfortunately, the docking port there has drooped. Not sure why, but that did droop obviously during gluing, so I'm just going to need to remove that and glue that back on again. There's no pins to worry about on that one, it just glues straight onto the surface, so that'll be fine. There are a few other imperfections that I need to remove as well, so it's not really going to cause too much of a problem. And I just need to get the other secondary colours on there, and also the grey wash as well. So yeah, it's starting to look quite good. I'll show you the I've got this jury rigged at the moment. As you can see there, I've got one 9-volt battery there, and I've also got another 9-volt battery down there, and I've had to you can see the pole down the middle of the pylon there, and that's running through the center of my wire tube, and I've had to put that at an angle to actually get the pylon at the right angle so you can actually see what it looks like. But it's not looking too bad at the moment. So I'm going to call it quits for this video, guys, as I am a bit conscious of the time on this one, because the last one did go on for about 20 minutes, and I don't really want to bore you to death. So what I'll do is I'll get the rest of the bits that I need to get done to it, and then I'll show you what they look like completed in the next video. Until then, thanks for watching, and please do take care.